Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you would consider subscribing and joining the fam. Alright, so today I have a new release for you guys. This was actually sent to me by the brand, and that is the new Sorcerer palette from Fantasy Cosmetics. I'm really excited, really grateful that the brand decided to send this my way. If you watched my mid-year favorites, you would know that the Druid palette, which is the original palette from the brand, is one of my favorites for 2022 so far. And I had been really looking forward to seeing what else the brand came up with. Also, the sun is doing a lot of things, so if it goes in and out, I apologize, okay? Okay, this is natural light filming, okay? It just is what it is. So this is the official second release from the brand, which I think is really exciting, you know, to be kind of like with this brand from the very beginning. So this is the Sorcerer palette. I'll show you guys the original Druid palette as well, so you can see what it looks like. Like I said, this is the second release from the brand. How I'm going to do today's review is I'm going to give you guys some product details, let you know about the release date, I'll insert some swatches, and then we're just going to do one quick eye look today, just so you can get a feel for this. I've already tried this once before. Impressed, I will say that. Okay, we'll get into it, but let's open this baby up. So the palette comes in a sleeve that is identical to the palette itself. So everything is the exact same. So you don't need to keep the sleeve. So just in terms of product details, this is a 12-month shelf life. And it said that this was not tested on animals. So I don't believe that this is vegan because I don't see anything here that says that this is vegan. And this was made in China. So when you open it up, this is the palette. This is the color story. It is very bright, very bold, very spring. It seems very pink too, but when you start swatching some of these shades, whew, child, it's very different. All right. Okay, so let me give you guys some additional details that the brand sent over. So first and foremost, this palette will retail for $38.99 USD, so about 39 bucks. You do get 9 shades, and in terms of the description, it says, welcome Sorcerer. Sorcerers come in all shapes and sizes. Some are born with magic, others gain magical abilities from events in their life. Sorcerers have innate magic. They know instinctively how to use magic and don't need to study it or borrow their power from another entity. A sorcerer's magic wants to be used and will build up and spill out in unpredictable ways if it isn't. This eyeshadow is not tested on animals and is a vegan formula. Oh, so it does say on the little info sheet that they gave me that it is a vegan formula, but that's not printed anyway on the packaging itself. So it was made in China and shipped from Redmond, Washington, US. So the Sorcerer palette has 9 pigmented shades, which includes 4 mattes, 1 duochrome, and 4 multichromes. That's not bad. Now that I'm thinking about it, for the palette retailing $39 to get 4 multichromes, solid. Okay, so let's go through these shades. I was going to insert some swatches, but let's just do some live swatches, shall we? Okay, so first up we have Firestorm. This is a multi-chrome with a pink base with magenta, pink, and gold shifts. There we go. The second shade is Innate. It's a matte light pink. And then the third shade is Wild Magic. It's a matte mid-toned bright blue. So here we have the first 3 shades. Firestorm, Innate, Wild Magic. Now I will say I feel like Firestorm is the weakest of the multichromes in this palette. Like it looks like a bright pink, but I'm not seeing the gold shift in there. Okay, on the next row we have Unleashed. This is a matte bold hot pink. Arcane, this is a multi-chrome. It has a share purple base with blue and purple shifts. This is really pretty, and this does feel very wet to the touch. And lastly, we have Polymorph, which is a multi-chrome with a blue-green base with pink, purple, gold, with pink, purple, and gold shifts. So here we have the next 3 shades. Unleashed, this is that super bright pink. Arcane, Polymorph. I think Polymorph has the strongest shift that I've seen so far. And Arcane is definitely more of a topper. Like it says it has a sheer base, so beautiful. And then for the last row, we're going to start off with Chaos. This is the one duochrome in the palette. Purple with a blue shift. Then we have Empower. This is a matte deep purple. Very, very pretty. And lastly, we have Illusion, which is a multi-chrome that flips from teal to blue to purple. Look at how pretty that is. Oh. Chaos, Empower, Illusion. Ooh, baby. Okay, so here we have all 9 shades swatched on my hand. Now, off the jump, I know the mattes don't look like they swatch the best, but they are very, very, very pigmented. I actually wonder if these are more pressed pigments than they are like true eyeshadow. In terms of the shimmers, I will say that this shade right here, what is this shade called? The shade Polymorph right here definitely is the strongest shift. It reminds me of, I think, Heavenly from Pretty's For Your Face. I also have a shade that's very similar to this in my Terra Moon. So it's a very common shift, nothing too over the top. This pink shade has the weakest shift. It doesn't look like a multi-chrome. It doesn't look like a duochrome at all. So I would just consider this like a pink metallic shade. The shade Chaos, it is really nice and grungy, definitely a strong duochrome, as they say. And I really appreciate the shade Arcane for being that more topper shade, because I think it gives like, you can create a really simple look if you just wanted to put a matte down and just throw that on top of it. So let's dive into this. I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. I think I'm going to try to use not as much as possible, because one of the things with multi-chrome shades, and as you've seen, this palette has 4 of them, whenever you start layering multi-chromes, it starts to become a bit of a mess. So it's going to be a little bit hard for me to use multiple multi-chromes, but I will do my best and see what I can do. My eyes are primed and ready to go, so let's bring you guys in a little bit closer. Okay, so I have my Wheat Primer from Colored Rain on. That has been the only thing I've been using for the past, say, like month or so. So starting off with my Refa number 12, I'm going to go into the bright blue shade. We're just going to go in ham today. So I'm going to start by actually putting that into the inner part of the eye here. I don't know if it's just me, but is this like, this is the color blue next to the blue. Blues always look a little weird on me. Anyways.
Midas hands, but we all grow old. Can't have my soul, let my heart turn stone.
As you can tell, this is a very, very pigmented shadow.
That's what they taught. Yeah, I'ma take my chance to lie.
Switching brushes because I want something that has a little bit more precision. I think that one's just a little too fat up top. Next, I'm gonna go into the bright pink shade that's called Drop the palette. Thank God nothing break. It's called Unleashed. So I'm gonna take this bright pink shade and I'm gonna put that and the outer part, blending it into the blue.
Stars line up, that's that. I've been attached, just looking out. We move so fast, was moving south. Through my secret sauce, boo in and out. Miss how you gloss that pretty mouth.
It's so pretty. Aww. Okay, and then finally I'm gonna go into the deep purple shade. This is the deepest matte in the palette.
Girl, you get me off track, so off-white track, so
and you can probably already see that these shades are all very, very rich. Like, the pigmentation is there.
oh snap, now you getting time out, cause you hit it where my heart's at. Got me going deeper than Amari when that ball snap. Heard you sold your soul on Macari, got you call lacking. Now I'm next door, at the party while you jaw jacking. You know it's...
Okay, so this is what the eyes are looking like right now. I may have to go back and add a little bit more pink because I think I got a little grunge and carried away, and I want to bring some of that brightness back. So I'm gonna just add a little bit more pink, and then let's go into the shimmers. And for the lid, I'm gonna go into Illusion, which is that multi-chrome. It shifts teal to purple to blue. So I kind of want to put that all over the lid. Yeah, that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna put this all over the lid, and I think I'm gonna top it in the center with this Arcane shade, which is that like sheer base. Let's see how this goes. So I'm gonna use my Refa number 21. Nice pickup. Okay. That applied really nicely with the brush. Okay, now that that shade is pretty much all over the lid, I will go back in with the mattes to blend all of that together, because you can see the pretty harsh line that's there. But before we do that, I do want to see if I'm doing this right. I'm going to go into that Arcane shade. You can see it's very, very toppery. And I'm just going to plop that into like the center of this. See what happens. Okay, that is turning blue. So you definitely gave it a little bit more sparkle, but it definitely turned to blue. All right, so I'm just gonna replicate what I did on this eye, clean things up a little bit, and then I'll come back and, you know, finish up the rest of my face and give you guys my final thoughts.
Oh yeah. With the wind in your hair, take control and take us anywhere. Oh yeah. So let's not stop here, baby.
Okay, I know I said I wasn't gonna do anything extra, but I'm taking a little bit of this pink and I'm plopping that on the outer part going into the blue. Don't ask me why. I'm doing too much, I know. Okay, so this is kind of what the eyes are looking like right now. I'm gonna blend as I always do, and then I'll be right back with the finished face to show you guys this eye look and give you guys my thoughts on this palette. Okay guys, I'm back and this is the final face. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Let me bring you guys in a little bit closer so you can see the eyes in all of its glory, and then let's talk.
Making plans, holding hands, running wild for a while, yeah. Oh, yeah. So let's not stop here, baby. We've been lost here lately.
Okay, really quickly, I want to show you guys what I did in the waterline. I went in with the deep purple shade in the outer part of the eye. Then I actually went into the center with the pink shade, blending it into the purple. And then I used this shade here, Polymorph, as sort of the inner part of the eye. And then I topped that off with the pink shade, Firestorm, on top of that. So you get a really kind of like purple inner part. So it was a lot for the bottom and the waterline, I'm not gonna lie, but I think it looks cute. Okay. So for the rest of the face though, I did, let me give you guys a little bit of details. For my highlight, I'm wearing my Cosmetica highlighter. I'm wearing my Sephora Spice Market blush palette. I picked this up a while ago. This was my first time trying it. It's a shimmery blush formula, kind of soft. I like it for this look since the eyes are so bold. I went in with my One Size bronzer trio. Really, really enjoy this. And I think that's it. Oh, I'm wearing the shade, I believe, Moxie from Proper Beauty on the lip again. I've been really enjoying my Proper Beauty lipsticks lately. Okay, let's talk about this baby. So the Fantasy Cosmetics Sorcerer palette. Now I promised I would show you guys it compared to the Druid palette so you can see the similarities and differences. So here we have the original Druid palette, here we have the the Sorcerer palette. You'll see that overall the kind of like theme and packaging very, very similar, pretty much the exact same. I think one of the big differences between this one and this one is that they improved sort of the outer packaging. One of the complaints from this one is that the writing on the packaging is really, really dark. So, and the imagery is really dark, and it made it really hard to see. You'll see here, it's even very difficult to see the shade names in this packaging because of how dark everything was. This is a beautiful color story, by the way. I prefer this one over this one, but we'll get to that. This one, they definitely went ahead and made some improvements. You'll see that this is in sort of like silver writing, so it's a lot easier to read, as well as the shade names inside of the packaging. Okay, now in terms of the actual performance and quality, I was actually pretty impressed. I feel like the mattes performed really well. They are very, very pigmented. I do believe that these are pressed pigments. Oh yes, it does say pigment palette. How did I miss that? On here, it says that this is a pigment palette, which makes sense because I can see how vibrant those shades were once I put them down, which means that, you know, they probably will stain a little bit, but I'm not mad at it because even though they went on and they were really bright and vibrant, I thought that they blended like butter. So I'm happy that the mattes worked well, they were easy to blend, and they gave me really, really beautiful pigmentation. Now in terms of the color story, I honestly wasn't fully impressed when I saw this. And then I started swatching because I felt like this looked like a pink palette if you took away this row. But the multi-chrome shades in here are so multi-dimensional that this shade here, which I thought was like, oh, it's a blue shimmer shade, it's like a blue-purple multi-chrome. And you don't see those shifts until you start swatching. So looking at this palette by itself, I was like, okay, that's cute. But then I started swatching and I started really, really seeing the shifts. Now, I do think that the color story in here is very, very cohesive. At first, I was like, okay, pink and then this random blue. And then you have these three sort of pinky mauve shades. But given the shifts that these multi-chromes have, like this is a blue-purple shift. This is a blue-purple shift as well. It's just, you don't really see it until it's on the eye. This also is just like a deeper blue-purple shift. So because of the fact that everything here has like purple, pink, blue to it, I think that these shades actually make sense. Would I have preferred like just sort of a neutral brown to use as a deepening up color? I think I always want a neutral brown because I feel like it can give you like just something a little bit extra, but I'm not mad at the mattes that were chosen for this. I think that they make a lot of sense. The multi-chromes here, impressive. The only one that I have an issue with is this pink one because it honestly, when I swatch it, it looks like a pink shimmer shade. Like you don't see any shifts in this. So I feel like this is definitely not a multi-chrome. Whereas these three are multi-chromes and this one is like a true duochrome. Like you can really see the two shifts in here, but I don't see any shift in this at all. This palette does retail for $39, which I think is a fair price given the multi-chromes that are in here. And one thing that I will say about the shimmers as well that I didn't really mention is that you do get multiple textures. So the two shades at the bottom here are a little bit smoother, and these two are the chunkiest shades, and this one is also pretty chunky. When I touched these shimmers, they felt wet to the touch. They actually remind me a lot of the House of L shimmers in that they were very wet, very metallic, and they have a little bit of chunk to them. But once those settle, like when you apply them, at first you might be like, okay, that's a lot of texture. But when they settle into the eye, it is glorious. And I'm doing a little too much, I'll admit that. I feel like a lot of times with multi-chromes, you shouldn't have that many shades next to each other. So I understand I'm doing a bit much, but I wanted to show you guys how all of these perform. And I think it's stunning. Now, it could be that I have so much on my eyes that you don't really see the shift of the shades, which is why I think you should just pick one and go with it. So, you know, with all of these things going on my eyes, you don't really see how shifty this is. So that's just something to be mindful of when you're applying it. I'm really happy that I have this, and I am very impressed. Like, honestly, I fell in love with the Druid palette when it came out. I thought that this was stunning. I thought that the multi-chromes in here were great. I thought that the palette performed well. One thing I do want to point out is that this says eyeshadow palette in the back for the Druid palette, whereas this one says pigment palette. So just something to note if you are sensitive. But But I fell in love with the Druid palette, and I couldn't wait to see what else the brand released. So them putting out this more bright and colorful and summery palette, I think is stunning, because I do think the Druid gives me a lot of fall vibes, and I was hoping for something that was a little bit more light, a little bit more airy, and this gives me that. And I will say the quality in here is top notch. And same thing I would say for like the House of L palette. When you really count what it costs to produce these multi-chromes as singles, you're getting a really, really good price. So super duper impressed. This brand continues to impress me. I cannot wait to see what else they bring out, because this is now like a brand to watch for me. And so far their only two releases have been hits. So Fantasy Cosmetics, I see you, and I'm gonna be watching. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out if you haven't already done so and you enjoy the content. Tell a friend if you think they'll like the content as well. You know, as always, I love you guys so very much. Thank you for always supporting, always watching. I hope these videos are helpful and you're having a vibe, you're having a good time here. Thank you all so very, very much, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.